Traeger. Welcome to No Movies in Hell.
I'm LaClaw Scott, and today we are reviewing Chippendale Rescue Rangers, the movie. I know that you were, I don't want to say hesitant. There was a bit of trepidation because you, Chris, you haven't seen the 90s television show.
Right. I mean, I'm aware of Chippendale generally, but I had not ever watched the show. If they had movies before this one, I had never seen it.
Nah.
I am aware that they are different from Alvin and the Chipmunks. But really, I had no affinity for them, right? I wasn't like sitting at home thinking, oh my gosh, I wish they would come out with a Chippendale movie, right? Like I wasn't missing them at all. And so when you recommended it, I was like, okay, let me see if I have time to get this in. But I'm glad I did. It was very cute. I liked that it seemed very aware of itself, right?
Yes.
I like that Dale got a makeover, right? Like he had some work done and now he doesn't look the same.
Yes.
That was maybe one of my favorite parts.
I really liked this movie. I mean, I think I heard about it word of mouth. And then it was like my friends saying, okay, you have to watch this movie. It's really funny. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then I liked, John Mulaney and Andy Samberg do the voices of Chippendale. And then them going back and kind of self-referencing, hey, the 90s and how things have gone, and kind of this world of like how humans and cartoons exist, which is really funny, and that nobody really addressed it.
Right.
And then the fact that like what I find fascinating about this movie is that they really touched on like the bootleg market, which I feel like Disney just doesn't want to talk about like the millions of different movies that rip off premises of characters that they own the license to and like do something with it. So this being like one of the plots was like, oh, this is very interesting because they're like kind of, it's a wink to things that they fight all the time on IP level. What I also thought was fascinating, I think the day after seeing this movie, I ended up looking up, kind of how they put together the Sneaky Pete character. And so, around the time, I want to say the 50s, the cartoons were actually drawn by, they were drawn out of the likeness of child actors and actresses. And for the guy who played Peter Pan had a very hard time in life because his image and likeness were used as a cartoon. However, when he aged out, when he started to get older, he stopped getting roles. And ultimately he ended up in an unmarked grave in New York on Hart Island. But long story short, it was interesting that they have this character that's kind of like, bitter and aged out of cartoons. And it was kind of like they were semi-addressing what happens, but it was pretty bold of them to do something like that. And yeah, it just felt like it was a little too real. But overall, the movie was, I thought it was great. It was good. I mean, I don't expect a sequel. I didn't expect a movie in the first place. I thought, oh, maybe they'll just throw a bunch of the 90s content on Disney Plus and, kids will discover it. But I don't think this movie was for kids. It was for the millennials and Gen Y and Gen Z, or not even Gen Z. I think it was for like the Gen Xers too, that have watched the show and, see what they're up to now. And it's just, I thought it was great.
So do you feel like it was consistent with the characters that they were, or do you feel like they made like total like,
oh, this was totally different? I loved how it was like self-referencing, but they kind of made it seem like, the TV show was like their acting parts and stuff, and they were the actors, and this is kind of their out of the limelight life.
Okay, so that is okay. So I wasn't sure if like that's how they were in the show too. So cool. Let's go to the slides. We're not actually too far off, which is surprising to me because I thought you would really give this one a lot higher score than I did, having the sort of nostalgia element going for you.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was like, it's a good movie. I really liked the story, and I thought I gave it a good Rater's Choice score, but for the most part, it's a comedy. It's very funny. I thought everything else was just fine, really. I mean, wasn't even about special effects because you had a practical and then you had some CGI. Where this movie landed for me it was just overall, it was just really funny and very, gosh, there were so many good jokes that it's like you can't retell it. You just have to just, have somebody recommend it for someone to watch. Lots of, I guess, Easter eggs. There we go.
Yeah. I thought it was cute. I mean, I would recommend it to someone who had kids, even if they, themselves had not watched it. Like, it is something I think that kids would enjoy, even though it has a lot of adult humor in it.
Yes.
The plot line is not so sophisticated that they would be like, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts or feelings to share about Chip and Dale?
I don't. I thought it was great. Good popcorn movie.
Do you have anything to plug at the end of this episode?
No, I have nothing to plug. How about yourself, Chris? Do you have anything to plug?
I don't, but hopefully in the next episode, we will think of something.
I know, right? Oh gosh, yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.